Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28. Puranjan becomes a woman in the next life. Shloka number 48. Uttishtottishta Rajarishe Imam Udadi Mekalam Dasyubhyam Dasyubhyah kshatrabandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Uttishta uttishta rajarshe imam udadid mekalam dasyubhyah kshatrabandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Uttishta uttishta rajarshe imam udadid mekalam dasyubhyah kshatrabandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Uttishta uttishta rajarshe mamudati mekhalam dasyubhyah kshatrabandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Uttishta uttishta rajarshe imam udati mekalam dasyubhyah kshatrabandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Uttishta uttishta rajarshe imam udati mekalam dasyubhyah kshatrabandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Uttishta uttishta rajarshe. Very good. Kartika. In the Prabhupada Vani, there is Bhakti-Siddhanta-Saraswati Disappearance Day lecture, February 1969. उसका ट्रांसक्रिप्शन लिंक मुझे भेजना. So, word to word meaning. Uttishta, please get up. Uttishta, please get up. Rajarishe, O great, O saintly king. Imam, this earth. Udadi, by the ocean. Mekhalam, surrounded. Dasyubhyah, from the rogues. Kshatrabandhubhyah, from the unclean kings. Bibhyatim, very much afraid. Patum, to protect. Arhasi, you ought. Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. O best of kings, please get up, get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. Purport. Whenever an Acharya comes, following the superior orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. Religion means abiding by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Religious principles begin from the time one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the Acharya's duty to spread a bona fide religious system and induce everyone to bow down before the Supreme Lord. One executes the religious principles by rendering devotional service, specifically the 9 items like hearing, chanting, and remembering. Unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. Actually, human life is meant for executing the orders of the Supreme Lord, and this is stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:34. Man mana bhavamat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyashi yuktaivam atmanam mat parayanah. Engage your mind always in thinking of me and become my devotee. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. The main business of human society is to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times, to become His devotee, to become his devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord and to bow down before him. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles, but when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. At the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogues and non devotees. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is started to save the world from irreligious principles. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. It's a very amazing verse. Now here we see that the the queen, she is serving her husband, and then she is seeing that at certain point in time the king leaves his body, and she is very much shocked by seeing this, and she is telling that please get up, oh great saintly king, and see this world surrounded by waters and infested with rogues and so-called kings. The world is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. So he was a great king, and he used to keep the law and order, very much intact. And now she is telling that since you have gone, these things will be at risk. So please get up, and you have to see this thing. So here Prabhupada nicely mentions, whenever an acharya comes, following the superior order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. So I was just hearing one lecture by Srila Prabhupada on disappearance day of Bhakti-Siddhanta-Saraswati Thakur. So he was mentioning something very similar, that he was mentioning the aspect of whenever a great personality departs, there is an immediate surge in the activities, or immediate surge in the practice of Krishna consciousness. And also whenever there is a slowness in the practice, that is there, so some great personality would come, just to give push to the whole system. So here we see that, and what does this acharyas do? So they don't do something different, they don't do something out of the box. They just reinforce the principles which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the thing that they do. It is so simple, but then people, like general condition of this world is that everything goes towards deterioration. So we have in the Gita course PPT, what is that? Law of entropy, right? So anything that is kept over a period of time, it deteriorates. That's the law, that's the natural law. So even this pure principles of bhakti, this also deteriorates over a period of time. So, but again and again, great personalities come, they amplify, they actually re-energize, the whole system, and they set it in motion. So now we see that, this great acharyas, whenever they come, so they come by the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative. So it is not that, great acharyas, they perform things on their own. So this is a very important principle in Bhagavad Gita. I like this this point of Kapidvaja, So this point, like wherein the Hanuman, a great warrior, he is sitting as like in the flag, and he has done big tasks actually. So, but then in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we see that Arjuna is in depression, and Krishna is negotiating with them, and he didn't say that. Like no, you just let me loose. No, I'll go and kill all these people and come. So no, there when the role is there to fight, no, he fought. When the role is there just to sit, he sat. So that is a very important thing, that a devotee, he just wants to do whatever is being asked of. No, he doesn't want to do something like of his own. So that is a very important principle. So many great personalities are there, many great devotees are there. So when the Lord sets it in motion, for preaching to happen, so everybody comes out and everybody preaches, and the Lord covers the whole this one. So everybody does their own business, like they don't do this particular aspect. So in this way, we can see Nityananda Prabhu. He appeared much before Lord Chaitanya. So, but then he was going to Tirth Yatra and he was seeing the bad condition of people and things like that. So, but he was not preaching because he was waiting for the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this is the way, the preaching activities or the spreading of this mission of Krishna consciousness, happens by the instruction of a superior authority, by the order of a superior authority. And Srila Prabhupada often, in his classes, he would say that Amar Agya Guru Hoy. So, like, what is the why we should preach? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordered us to preach the message of Krishna consciousness, and for that purpose we have to preach. And what we should preach? Like Krishna Upadesh. Whatever, whomever you see, like you just give Krishna Upadesh, whatever Krishna has given, the same thing, you just repeat. And in that way, like, we can reinforce this whole thing. So there is nothing to invent, new. So here it's mentioned that when these acharyas come, so they establish the principles of religion as enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. And then religion means abiding by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So that is like, this whatever has been spoken by the Lord, that is dharma. And here another angle is given, to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a religion. So the other day we were discussing that if we are not able to surrender, so then what is the what is the solution? So then it becomes sinful. So like if somebody says, okay, I can surrender only little bit. So okay, like that little bit surrender is appreciated. So but then the rest of the thing which we are not surrendering, so that is sinful, no portion. So like until unless we surrender to the Supreme Lord, there is no piety. So why is it so? Because everything belongs to Krishna, and ideally everything should be surrendered to Him. So if it's like saying, like we have occupied somebody's house, and then the owner comes and says, like, we should, no, this is my house, you should get out. So you say, like, okay, your house, you take one room, like the rest of the place I'll use it. Like, people say that, okay, everything belongs to you, Krishna, but I'll give you one flower, you'll be satisfied. The rest of the things belongs to me. So that is the surrender people offer. So one has to surrender everything. Whatever is there in one's possession, everything is Krishna's property, and everything should be used in His service. So that is real religion. So anything like lesser than that is not real religion. It is not the real, real religious principle starts there. Complete surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see that Krishna allows some leeway for us to enjoy this material world. So he says that even if you want to enjoy, so you perform your activities based on Varna and Ashrama, and then you'll be given something. You'll be given some facility to enjoy. So that is Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga means like it is a, some kind of a deal like this, So like I have occupied your house, but then I'll follow all the, this one, all that you are saying, but I will enjoy this house, So it is like that. So, and I will not, means it is not completely used in the owner's service. It is like used in my own, this one. So, and then there is Jnana Yoga, like this one, Dhyana Yoga, and different yogas are there. All these things are negotiation, saying, I will not surrender Krishna's property 100% in Krishna's service. I'll keep something with me, and then I'll follow. Whatever he says, I'll follow, but I'll keep something with me. It is just like, children, they'll say, like they'll want to play or they'll want to do something, and they will not give up their sense gratification. They'll say, no, like whatever you say, like they'll tell to the parents, whatever you say, I'll follow. But this enjoyment I want. This I'll not give it up. So like that. So that is the condition of things, this different yoga systems. So Bhakti Yoga system is the real religious principle wherein we come to the point, everything that is existing belongs to Krishna and everything should be used in his service and for his pleasure as he wants. And like if he gives whatever thing that he gives us, so we will be happy. We will not have any demand that, I want this, I want that karke. So then that is like proper Bhakti Yoga, where we are giving the proper position to Krishna. So the real religious principles start at the point of surrender. So below surrender to the Supreme Lord, there is no religious principles. There are sub-religious principles actually. So then what is this religious principles? Prabhupada is explaining it. So it is the Acharya's duty to spread the bona fide religious system, spread a bona fide religious system, and induce everyone to bow down before the Supreme Lord. So this is this one. So like the Acharya's job is to say, like, no, you are not the proprietor, you are not the owner of things. No, Krishna is the proprietor, you surrender everything to him and then you bow down before him. So that is the teachings of the Acharya. And then one executes religious principles by rendering devotional service. So then if I surrender everything, then what is there for me? So, okay, like you can be engaged. No, you are also a part and parcel of the Lord. You are also a property of the Lord. So you should also be engaged in the service of the Lord. And okay, so what service to do? So devotional service. Like devotional service means what? Using everything rightfully, whatever Krishna has given us, using everything rightfully in the service of the Supreme Lord, right? So in that way, like we see that. So this person, like coming back to that example, this person who has occupied the house of another person, actually is the servant of that person, and now he is telling like, no, I am the owner of the house. And then he is negotiating with the owner, I'll give you one room, no, you take care, and rest of the thing belongs to me. So that person has to be convinced that, I am not telling you to get out of the home. You are the servant of this home. You are not the boss of the home. Like, no, you agree that and you surrender and you render service. So you have the access for all the items which are there in the home, but you are not the owner. You are not supposed to enjoy these things. You are supposed to take care of these things and you are supposed to use it in service of the master. So then we will be happy. Artificially we try to enjoy it, is not going to be happy. We will be like very, very miserable in this condition. So now here, what is this devotional service? So Srila Prabhupada explains specifically the 9 items like hearing, chanting and remembering. So devotional service means automatically the Navavidha Bhakti. So that is the aspects of devotional service. And this is in many different ways. Sometimes it is contracted and sometimes it is expanded. So in this way, like it is explained in many, many nice ways. So like here itself, Prabhupada is quoting Manmana Bhavamat Bhakta Madhyajimam Namaskuru. So this is like little shorter version. And a little elongated version we can see in this Savai Mana Krishna Pada Aravindaya. So there 11 items it is mentioned in total. So in that way, like devotional service can be expanded to unlimited forms and it can be contracted. But essentially, like we see that this 9 items, that is Shravanam, so hearing about the Lord, Kirtanam, speaking about the Lord, Vishnu Smaranam, so like remembering about the Lord, and then Archanam, Vandanam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam and Atma Nivedanam. So these are the different limbs of pure devotional or devotional service. And when it is performed like purely for the satisfaction of the Lord, so and purely for advancing in Krishna consciousness and to attain the lotus feet of the Lord, so then it becomes pure devotional service, even if it is there in the beginning stages. So pure devotional service, pure devotee means it is not that somebody who has attained prema. Even from the stage of what is it, Adav Shraddha, so a person can be called pure devotee. Like if his intention is not covered by any other goal, if his intention is not covered by the goal of sense gratification or liberation, so then it becomes pure. So that is the impurity. What is the impurity? Impurity means desire for sense gratification, desire for liberation. So these are the impurities, which is like mentioned. And if this impurity is not there, so then even if a person is struggling with anartha and still he is called as a pure devotee, so because his intention is right. So when Prabhupada was asked, like, how many pure devotees are there? So then it was like, how many people are there in the movement? So that many pure devotees are there. So like that. So it is not that everybody were in the stage of prema. So probably like, very few would have been there. So but then like everybody were counted as pure devotees because everybody had one intention, to please Srila Prabhupada. And for that, whatever it takes, they were ready to do. So that means like they were pure devotees. So they didn't have any other, this one, they didn't have aspiration of sense gratification, they didn't have aspiration of liberation, right? So they didn't even know such yoga systems exist. So they were directly given Bhakti Yoga process. It was so powerful. So now we see that, so these are the 9 different processes, and an Acharya comes to like strongly preach these methods of Krishna consciousness, strongly preach this method of practicing bhakti. And it's mentioned, unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. So substandard principles will be brought about. So why this happens? Because to propagate this looks very simple, right? So 9 processes like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, like anybody can do. It's so simple. So it is so simple, but the main crux of this is it has to be awarded by Krishna. It cannot be forcibly accessed. An Acharya who's in the spiritual plane, he can propagate this. So, but then a person, like later on, if a powerful Acharya goes and then nobody like strong enough is there, so then naturally it declines because from material permutation and combination we cannot do this. Just by reading we cannot do this. So one has to come to the point of sevon mukhehi jivado swayameva sparatyada. So one has to come to the point of service, and like through service Krishna has to become pleased, and then he will allow the access to enter into these things. Otherwise we will not get the access. So we may study this 9 different processes. We may put a schedule also to perform all these 9 different processes, but we will not be able to access it because it is Krishna. Krishna cannot be accessed just like that. So he has to allow himself. That is when it will be possible. So the great Acharyas, they make it very, very easy and simple. And it appears when we are there in association of devotees who are strongly practicing, this like anywhere I can do this, this chanting like acha lag raha hai, kidhar bhi jaake kar lunga. So but it is not possible because it is because of some devotees' prayers that Krishna is giving us taste. If that devotee stops praying, everything will go for toss. And like either I should be like solidly situated in Krishna consciousness, or somebody's mercy should be there upon me. Then I can practice. Otherwise, it is not possible. Like why will Krishna just open up? For somebody who doesn't want. So it is not possible. Like so that is why when great acharyas disappear. So these things, though it is documented very nicely, it cannot be possible to perform until unless in the whole system there is a person who is sincere and who is praying to the Lord to open up this thing. Until unless that person is there, so it is not accessible. So that is why devotees are very, very essential. So Lord also sends great devotees into this world for that purpose, so that this access to this confidential things can be given. So many times we would have read this statement, right? Confidential devotional service, confidential subject matter. Why it is confidential subject matter? Because it cannot be accessed just like that. It has to be allowed. Access has to be allowed. This is the most heavy, cryptography, nobody can pass through this. Only one way to pass through, like Lord has to open it up. Nobody else can open it up. It can be distributed to any number of people. So Lord has to personally open. What is the password? Lord has to personally open. So otherwise it is not going to be there. So that is how it is like heavy cryptography it is. And we see that, see these unauthorized swamis, yogis and all these people. So what do? These people also take Bhagavad Gita. These people also take Bhagavad Gita and they speak about Bhagavad Gita and stuff like that, but they will not be able to unlock. Because they are not surrendered to Krishna, they will not be able to unlock, and they will not be able to give the experience of real Krishna consciousness to anyone. So that is how the principles become deteriorated. So actually, human life is meant for executing the orders of the Supreme Lord. And what is the order of the Supreme Lord? So Prabhupada writes, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto, like always think of me and become my devotee. And then Madhyaji, worship me, Mam Namaskuru, like offer obeisances unto me, like that. So in this way, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So this is the order of the Supreme Lord. And to execute this, like, like now, there is, this is the way Krishna conscious principles work. Now, one is order of the Supreme Lord or the spiritual master. So once the order is given, so then if a person thinks, okay, I can just, okay, now I know what to be done, I'll just do it. So then another crux of the matter is that where will you get the strength to do this thing? No? So that also has to be brought from the Supreme Lord only. So a devotee, in the proper attitude of a devotee is, he should get a bona fide instruction from the Lord or the spiritual master, and he should be dependent on the Lord and spiritual master to execute that instruction. And he should give whatever results that comes in executing that instruction back to the Lord and the spiritual master. So that is when the equation is complete. No, just that I got an instruction, I'll execute. No, kuch nahi hone wala. It is not like, it is not going to happen in that way. So all these things are very, very essential. So here, this is the instruction of the Supreme Lord, that we become absorbed in his thoughts, and then we try to execute the items that is mentioned by the Lord, and in this way we will get back to him. And it's mentioned, the main business of human society is to think of Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times, to become his devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord, and to bow down before him. So these are all the things that people have to do. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles, but when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. So, it is not mentioned, the perfect disciples, they will try to relieve the situation by distributing these principles. First is that, they will follow these principles very strictly, and then, they will try to distribute. At the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogues and non-devotees. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is started to save the world from irreligious principles. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. So, this is very, very bold presentation of Krishna consciousness. So here we see that so there is one lecture by Srila Prabhupada. In that he mentions about some very nice aspect in this regard. Okay. So Prabhupada is mentioning, so somehow or other it has begun. The blessings of Bhakti-Siddhanta-Saraswati, Thakur, as he wanted me, he desired me. So because he desired, I am not very expert or educated or nothing extraordinary, but only thing is that I believed in his words. That is, you can say that is my qualification. I believed 10% in his words. So whatever success is there, it is just due to my firm faith in his instruction. So I am trying to follow, and by his grace you are helping me. So actually the responsibility will now depend on you. I am also an old man. I may pass away at any moment. This movement should go on. You see, this movement started by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then accelerated by Goswamis, and then by Vishwanath Chakravarti. And when, just like whenever there is yada yada hi dharmasya glanir, so when there is some slowness, either Krishna himself or some representative comes to give it a push. So you should know that this movement should be pushed on. This movement should not be neglected. And I'm glad that you are catching the idea very nicely. Simple thing. Now Prabhupada is saying, now comes a very important thing. So Prabhupada makes the whole Krishna conscious understanding into a very, very simple few lines. Kindly pay attention to this. So simple thing, you chant sincerely and follow the rules and regulations. The rules and regulations are not very strict. No, they are very simple. but because you are trained in a different way, no, it's becoming difficult. But I'm so pleased and obliged to you that you have adopted. I never expected. So when I came first in Boston, I was thinking, oh, who will accept these Vaishnava rules and regulations? These people are after meat and wine and illicit sex, and how they will accept it? So I was hopeless. How they will chant? You see, so by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at least I am hopeful that this movement can be accepted by anyone. It is not so hopeless as I thought. So here we see an important point which Prabhupada is mentioning. So he is putting the stress on you chant sincerely and follow the rules and regulations. So this is the key aspect. So when we can see how amazingly the Acharya has digested the principles of Krishna consciousness. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he used to pass by different places, he would just tell this much, no, chant the names of the Lord and don't commit offense, and no, you will progress in the path of Krishna consciousness. So the same thing, very same thing, like Prabhupada is putting it in a very, very simple way. It's like chant the names of the Lord, no, very sincerely, and then not commit offense. So one gets so much of spiritual strength, no, he can actually propagate this Krishna consciousness very nicely. So this is the thing that has been mentioned. No, this is the essential aspect that needs to be done. So bhakti means like engaging the senses in the service of the Lord's senses, no, to please the Supreme Lord. So that is the aspect of bhakti, and it has to be, and this cannot be unlocked just like that. So we need to have the grace of Guru and Krishna. So that is when we will be able to unlock this, and we will be able to experience, and we will be able to teach others also know how to unlock this principle. So otherwise it is without the help of an acharya, without the help of association of very seriously practicing devotees, so it is not possible. So the devotees is not like the material subjects. We go to somebody and we study, and then we say like tata bye bye. No, we can just move on. So but Krishna consciousness doesn't work like that. So it works based on mercy, and we say tata bye bye like that. Krishna just closes the mercy and then everything becomes dry. We cannot say I just got the information what needs to be got, and now I'll have it. It is not possible. So it is continuous flow of mercy is required. That is why the whole Guru Parampara. We don't say like, okay, all you acharyas came, gave some nice things. I'll take care. I know what needs to be done. I'll take care. No, it's not going to be like that. So we have to be like eternally indebted to them and grateful to them. And that is how we will be able to get the mercy. And we see that like all these great personalities, they lived many, many years before. So, but just by remembering them, just by following their instructions and just by feeling indebted to them, so we gain so much of spiritual strength. So that is how this Krishna consciousness process works. Like this, whatever Krishna has mentioned, that is the dharma, and that is very nicely mentioned here. Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Manmana Bhavamat Bhakta. And to do these things also, we need to have the help of a devotee and who is properly connected in the parampara, unbroken chain. And through that, we can actually get the mercy, and through that we can experience Krishna, and we can distribute Krishna. So that's possible. So otherwise it is not possible. So here Prabhupada very nicely summarizes in this lecture also that aspect of chant sincerely and then follow the rules and regulations very nicely. And Prabhupada is mentioning that you will be able to, this is the primary thing which is like spoken about, and it's very, very powerful. It's not like something ordinary or something. It looks very ordinary, it looks very simple, so but it is very powerful. So I just pause here. Any discussions or comments on this you can take.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nice class. I have one doubt. So in this aspect of pure devotee which you mentioned, where even if the intention is proper, just to please the Lord, even at that stage of Ado Shraddha, he is considered as a pure devotee. So my doubt is, even at the stage of Ado Shraddha, how can he not have the contamination of sense gratification and liberation. If he doesn't have this contamination of liberation and sense gratification, he must be considered as a pure devotee, means he's at the stage of prema. Then how can we be?
So the aspect one is that we are tormented by the desires of sense gratification and this one. But the goal, what is my goal? So goal is sense gratification. So then it becomes contaminated. So if my goal is to attain Krishna, so then it is pure. So I may be like, I may be ignorant, no, but I have got enrolled into a school. So then I am called as a student, right? So like why I have got enrolled into a school? Because I want to be graduate. So then I'm called a student. So if somebody is like not wanting to study, just like Jabardasti, like no, he's been sent, and no, he's just doing rowdyism and doing some other thing. So he can also, he cannot be called a pure student, So pure student means if he's, whether he knows or not knows, like he has gone for the purpose of education. So that's okay. So his ignorance, because of ignorance, like we will be tormented by desires for sense gratification and desires for liberation. No, this is possible. So, but like a goal, what is a goal? The goal is, like there are other paths like where the goal itself is sense gratification. What do you want? I want to go to heavenly planets. Like, so then it is impure completely, and why, what are you doing to get that? I am worshipping the Lord to get there, So then it becomes impure. So that is an impure person. So he is ignorant, and at the same time he is impure also because his goal is wrong. But if goal is like I want to attain Krishna, what is your state currently? I am completely tormented by material desires. No, anything that I see, immediately I want to use it in my this one, and I am very much depressed, or very much upset by that kind of this one. When will this mind release me? From all these things. When will I, naturally think about Krishna's service? So like that. So that thought process. This is a pure thought process. So that starts from Adho Shraddha itself. Right? So that is the thing. The goal determines what kind of a devotee he is. So he is a pure devotee. We need to have the association of pure devotees, and we need to have an Uttama Adhikari as our role model. So, but we need to associate with equals, who are pure devotees, and we need to preach to people who are also pure devotees. So if you spend so much time with a person, who will say like, okay, like whatever you're saying is okay, like no, I want sense gratification. And with such person, if we just spend time, like we will also fall actually. So that is the whole whole point. So pure devotee means like they're of all different categories. They are there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just on what you spoke now. So the mood of a devotee that I'm filled with anarthas, when will this go away? So that if I'm not wrong, that comes in anartha nivritti stage. And the person is really tormented and he understands that he has got anarthas. But whereas in Adho Shraddha, the person is still in exploring mode, where he's still exploring, what is there. Komal Shraddha is there, that faith is there, so he takes up devotional service. But then he is still in the exploring mode, so what is the goal of life? And then when he keeps hearing again and again, when this sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, then his goal becomes a little bit clear. And then he starts aspiring, then he starts lamenting. So is my understanding correct here?
Yeah, that is right. So, like if you see, Prabhupada defines the Adho Shraddha stage as Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hai. So, like if I just execute Krishna Bhakti, like that is it. Like it is complete. I am not losing anything. I am not. There is nothing short of anything. So that kind of a faith. And a person who's not like so much behind sense gratification and so much behind liberation and things like that. So then it becomes pure aspect. So purity is generally mentioned based on these two parameters. So that is the aspect of purity. there is a possibility of a person being a pure from the beginning. So like before that, like before accepting this thing, a person may be arguing that no, like I want to do karma yoga, or I want to do jnana yoga or something like that. So then he is not even counted as a bhakti yogi. So bhakti yogi means when he has exhausted these two things. So then he says that okay, no, Krishna bhakti kaila sarva karma krita hai. So then he is enrolled into the process of bhakti. No, till then he's like no, he's a student of some other yoga system. So karma yoga or jnana yoga or something like that. So like there is prominence of bhakti is there, and then contamination of other things are there. That is called mishrit bhakti. So but there is possibility of a person can be pure right from the beginning. No, that is like I want this only, like kind of thing. So I want to attain this only kind of thing. So like this is something like which I heard from Dairampu, like in our this one. So NOD classes we used to take. So that time he used to mention that this particular point, that pure devotees of in all stages it can be there. So it is only that if a person is affected by these two parameters, then is called as impure. So I'm not sure like if it starts from Advaita stage or if it starts from some other stage. So but this is what is the understanding which I got from those sessions which I attended.
Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandal Pranam. So you mentioned there are 9 limbs of bhaktis, and then we also mentioned that Prabhupada has given like japa and follow the regulative principles. So what is the mapping between the two? Like when we do japa, we automatically obviously do shranam and like kirtanam and smaranam, but like what remaining 6, is there some mapping between the 4 regulative principles plus japa and those remaining 6 limbs?
Remaining services.
Remaining 6.
So whenever this particular point comes, so when Prabhupada highlights one aspect, he just says hearing. And then when he highlights 2 aspects, then he says chanting and hearing. So when he says 3 aspects, then he says like chanting, hearing and remembering. So like if you have the provision to do, if you have the capacity to do, like we execute all the 9 processes. So but if it is not there, so like you may do specific things which are possible for you, and even if you are attached to one of these things, one of these limbs, it is so powerful, it can actually liberate us. And especially in this Kali Yuga, so rest everything is in some way or other contaminated. So like if we see in the Archana Vidhi, like one has to offer everything pure, ghee pure and all the ingredients pure and things like that. So pure ingredients is quite difficult in this age of Kali Yuga. And then if we see any of the processes, like it is there may be some, this ones will be there. So but the chanting is a process which is recommended. Kaler dosha nide rajan asti nekon mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajed. So this is one process, like we can do it fully, completely. And because it has been ordered by the Supreme Lord, and this has been like designated as a process for this age, so everybody must do it. So that is why we are taken promise at the time of initiation of this particular aspect. So like we could have taken promise of all the 9 processes, like you should do karke. So but then, this one promise like is taken because if we can just perfect this one thing, we can actually go back to Godhead. And rest of the things we should perform with as much purity as possible, like we should try to perform. So that will be accepted. That will be accepted. And but then there is no negotiation. Chanting and hearing and remembering, there is no negotiation. That has to be done. Yeah. Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the class. Some points which I could take away was Acharyas are very special people. They are sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastrar. So they are non-different from Krishna, so they should be very nicely revered, respected, and we should try to follow whatever they say. It's a fortune of I was thinking that just like the friends of Krishna were Krita Punya Punja, similarly people who get the opportunity to associate with the Acharya, they are also Krita Punya Punja. Or maybe the Acharya creates their Punja, whatever it is. But somehow or the other, people who associate with the Acharya, they are really, really fortunate. And the more one appreciates this point, and the more one becomes surrendered and submissive to the Acharya, the more their fortune increases actually. Another point which you mentioned was regarding services and preaching. So services and preaching means it should be done based on some instruction. Very nicely you gave the example, Nityanand Prabhu. He is the father of Sankirtan movement also, but he didn't start anything until Lord Chaitanya told. And so I was just sharing with, some devotee was sharing with me that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj says that if you have not got an instruction, whatever you are doing, it is not seva also. So first you should get it verified from the authorities, local authorities or spiritual masters, and then when you do, then it is bona fide service. Otherwise, independently, if I'm trying to do something, then it is, forget about preaching or something, it's not service also. So he was stressing on this point to his disciples in a lecture, and one of the disciples was sharing with me. And another aspect which I was thinking means any service or preaching or whatever, it means reporting also. Because Lord Chaitanya told to Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu that go and preach like this and then come back and report to me also. So that entire loop makes it very safe for a person to execute that instruction. That yes, I have got that instruction, I'm trying to do it, I'm safe, I'm following a bona fide process. But because of my misunderstandings and immaturity, I may be making some mistakes. So reporting also is a very important aspect of any service or preaching. And then you mentioned that this Krishna consciousness is a greatest cryptic thing which can only be unlocked by Krishna himself. So in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says Bhakto si me sakha cheti. So without being a devotee of Krishna, without being in a friendly, non-envious disposition with Krishna and the devotees of Krishna, it is not possible to access this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam or devotional service in general. And for doing that, continuous flow of the mercy of Guru Parampara is very much necessary, without which nothing is possible. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So very nice points. One of them was a devotee does what he's ordered to do. So this is very nice to meditate on, because living entities, a Baddha Jiva's characteristic is to be independent, and a practicing devotee tries to be dependent, and this is a very nice thing, that he does only what is ordered to him by the authorities. And when you're saying this, I was thinking that those people are fortunate who get bona fide instructions and who have the understanding that I have to be completely dependent on Guru and Gauranga for executing these instructions. So these are some of the points. Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.